Hi guys, welcome back. Well, in 2022, iPhone 7 kinda looks very dated, but then it's actually an iPhone that can be bought for a very affordable price tag. Well, that price tag is for a used iPhone 7 and its condition is something to keep an eye on. But then since the iPhone 7 has an aluminum body, its condition shouldn't be much of an issue except the cosmetic look. And therefore, if you can get a good battery health iPhone 7, well then it's still not a bad option if you just want an iPhone for the iOS experience. Now for sure there are shortcomings with the iPhone 7, but then for using it as a secondary phone or maybe as a device just for the iOS exclusive stuff, the iPhone 7 does its job in a neat manner. Firstly, its form factor is still perfect. It's an ideal one-handed usage phone, and here the slim profile makes the phone look very sleek. Now even after all these years, this design is still premium. Well, the front bezels are chunky and that looks very dated, but again, the overall appeal of the iPhone 7 is surely much better than any phone selling in its price range. And also the iPhone 7 has the IP67 rating, which is hard to find in phones selling in the mid-range segment. Now this price range thing is gonna vary based on the condition of the phone, and in my area, a really good condition 32GB iPhone 7 with approximately 85% battery health will cost around 12,000 Indian rupees, which is approximately 160 US dollars. And this is actually a decent pricing for a used iPhone which still does the basics without issues. Now here this display is small for 2022, but still it's usable. You can easily send messages, browse through news feeds or Instagram, and you can even do some casual gaming. And for all these stuff, this 4.7-inch display is not a letdown. In fact, this is the same display size we get in the 2020 iPhone SE, and yet this display in the iPhone 7 based on quality is still pretty good. It's an IPS LCD panel which has a resolution of 1334 by 750, but then since the display size is small, the resolution is fine to give a sharper image. And also this display does support 3D touch, which is still a handy feature, and right now none of the newly launched iPhones has this feature. So overall, even though the display being small gives a blow for the iPhone 7 from the competitors, well, as a secondary phone or maybe as an iPhone for iOS stuff, well, this display size is fine. At least you can easily use this phone with one hand because of the smaller size. And here the iPhone also has the non-physical home button, which works in hand with the Taptic engine to mimic the home button pressing feel. And here this portion being non-movable is an advantage because this doesn't break over time. And also the vibration feedback is excellent in the iPhone 7 because of the Taptic engine. And that's still a big plus point for the iPhone 7. And also this home button does house the Touch ID sensor, which is the second gen Touch ID, and even now, this is one of the best unlocking methods. It's fast, reliable and secure, and hence during this period, this unlocking method is the welcome one. So that's all good, but since this is an aging device, the most important thing to check is the performance, and since this is an iPhone, there is always a positivity in the performance side, and to an extent that's true with the iPhone 7, but the processor being very old has its issues. Now this phone was launched in 2016, and during that time, the Apple A10 Fusion chip used in the iPhone 7 was an excellent one, and now even though it works without much issues, the heat generated under load is on the higher side. Now this doesn't create much throttling, and in fact the phone performs perfectly great for normal stuff, and also for intense stuff it still does a decent job. And I'll say that this phone actually stays neck on neck with most of the phones in the segment. But still, please do keep note that if your usage style is more demanding, then there is no point in checking the iPhone 7. The 2GB RAM limitation has its effects even to iOS, and here while talking about iOS, well, the software support side is what this phone still shines at. It still does run the latest OS, and probably it will be supported with one more major software update, so in that regard, this phone should get all the patches and some new features in the future. So that's about the performance and user experience, and in that side, well, the iPhone 7 still does hold fine, with the heating issue being the main thing to point out. But then what about the camera system in this phone? Well, that's an area where expectation has to be kept to minimum. And if you do that, well, then this camera system is more than enough. Because even now, in a very ideal condition, you can use the main 12 megapixel camera of the iPhone 7 for clicking some decent shots. A bit of edit will sharpen the images because the details captured is good. But then that's all applicable only in very ideal condition where the lighting is excellent. Because when the light drops, the photos become grainy and there is loss in detail, and in fact the images are not usable ones. And also there is just one camera on the back, so you don't get any flexibility. But that said, the video recording capability of the iPhone 7 even now is great when we put it against its competition. The max supported resolution is 4K at 30 fps, and the outcome actually is stable with not much choppiness, and also the colors look fine. Now this is all while recording again in a well lit scenario, and in such a condition I do like the videos this phone records. But then the 7 megapixel front camera does show its age in almost all conditions, so if you're into selfies you'll probably be disappointed with the outcome. And the same thing is applicable for the front camera videos because they're not that stable, and also the frame of capture is cramped. So that's about the camera system, and now it's time to check the main issue side with this phone, which is the battery. Battery is the thing that always creates a major issue when an electronic device ages, and here the 1960 mAh battery in the iPhone 7 doesn't last that long. It's like if you get an 85% battery health iPhone 7, well then the screen on time you can reach is approximately 2.5 hours with moderate usage. And that timing can improve a bit if it's a genuinely new battery, but it can also get worse if the battery health is lower. So this does make this a phone that is meant to be used in a light manner, because heavy usage pattern will kill the phone within no time, and hence it will be like you need to be plugged into the charger all the time. And since the phone heats up with moderately heavy usage, well, plugging and using it will elevate that issue. And also the iPhone 7 doesn't support fast charging, which is a major drawback, and it even doesn't have wireless charging support. And about the speaker system, well, there are two speakers, which is the bottom grill and the earpiece, but then here the sound output is not very loud. And as you might know, there is no headphone jack in the iPhone 7. So if you want to take the listening experience private, well, you'll have to use a lightning headphone or a dongle, or maybe you can rely on Bluetooth, but then the Bluetooth version is 4.2, so the connection is not very strong with distance and obstacles. But then the Wi-Fi connection is stable, and even the LTE speed is adequately fast. And also there is NFC and Apple Pay support, but then in India, Apple Pay support doesn't matter because it's not available. And finally about the sensor support, well, all the needed sensors are present, which is a plus point. And even the calling experience was still good in both the ends. So that's everything about the iPhone 7 in 2022. And right now, well, this phone is surely not an ideal daily driver phone for users who rely a lot on their smartphones. It's something that can be perfectly used as a secondary device, or for light users, it's a handy one too. And maybe if you are an Android phone user but you need an iPhone for just iMessage or stuff, well then this phone works great for that purpose too. And while I was using the iPhone 7, I really wish that metal-bodied phones do make a comeback, because the present glass-backed phones are fragile and they are supposed to be used with a case, so we are all missing out on the ergonomic feel. Well, that's up for this video. Hope you liked it. And if so, hitting the like button is much appreciated, and subscribing to the channel is a support for the channel, and you won't miss our future contents. See you again in the next one. Till then, bye.